So, Friedrich Nietzsche had what he called a formula. And no, it's not some quick life hack or a new productivity tip. This was a formula for greatness in a human being. It's one of those ideas that if you can really get your head around it, it can completely change how you see your own life. And that formula, it's just two Latin words, amor fati. It translates to a love of fate. Now, before we go any further, you gotta know this is probably the single most misunderstood idea in his entire philosophy. Seriously.
So what's the big mistake everyone makes? Well, when you hear love of fate, your mind probably jumps to resignation, right? That kind of passive shrug of, it is what it is. But that's not it. Not even close. What Nietzsche was talking about was an active, powerful choice, an affirmation. It's looking at everything in your life and saying, with your whole chest, I would not change a single thing.
So let's really unpack this misunderstood formula, because honestly, getting the difference between just shrugging it off and actively affirming it, well, that's the whole key to unlocking this thing. And this is the absolute heart of it. Amor fati isn't about just tolerating what happened to you. It's not about gritting your teeth and just enduring the hard times. The word he chose, and you know he chose it carefully, was love. Okay, so if it's not just putting up with things, what in the world is it? This is where the whole idea moves way beyond what we normally think of as acceptance and into something, well, something much bigger. You can almost think of it in three levels. The first level is just bearing it. You get through it, you survive, you aren't destroyed. That's basic resilience. The next step up is not concealing it. You're honest about the pain, no fake positivity. But the highest level, the real peak, that's loving it. That's affirming that every single event, especially the painful ones, was absolutely necessary to make you who you are. And this right here, this is the critical difference. Look, acceptance is a good thing. It means you've stopped fighting the past, but it still kind of implies that the thing that happened was bad, and now you just have to learn to live with it. Amor fati is a whole other level. It doesn't just stop fighting, it embraces. It says that thing, that's mine. I claim it. It was essential in forging the person I am right now. This all leads to Nietzsche's ultimate test, his big thought experiment. It's called eternal recurrence. And he asks you to imagine this. What if you had to live your life, this exact one, with every joy and every single sorrow over and over and over again for eternity? Would you scream in terror, or would you be able to say yes? Amor fati is the power to shout yes to that question. Okay, if this is such a powerful way to live, why is it so incredibly hard? I mean, why isn't everyone doing it? Well, the biggest roadblock is something Nietzsche had a special word for: resentment. Now, resentment isn't just being bitter or holding a grudge. It's much deeper. It's a whole psychological posture. It's when a person has built their entire identity around an injury, around what was done to them. That injustice becomes the very center of their personal story. And that's the killer part. The injury becomes the self. Think about that. When who you are is completely wrapped up in being a victim, you can't love your fate. Why? Because you're too invested in that past event. Letting go of the injury feels like you're letting go of your very self. And there's another obstacle, something we all do. It's how we tell our own stories. We all have chapters we kind of edit out. The wasted years, the cringy decisions, the stuff we're ashamed of. We treat them like they don't count. But Amor fati demands you stop being your own editor. It means you have to own the whole manuscript of your life, footnotes and all. All right, so we get the idea, we see the obstacles. The big question is, how do we actually do this? How do you take this from a cool philosophical idea and make it real in your life? Here's the key. You have to start small. Don't try to tackle your biggest life trauma on day one. That's a recipe for failure. Start with the little daily stuff. The traffic that made you late, the conversation that got weird, the plan that fell apart. Just notice that feeling of resistance, that little voice saying, I wish that hadn't happened. And in that moment, just try to choose to affirm the day, exactly as it was. You're building a muscle here. Okay, you ready to go a little deeper? I want you to genuinely ask yourself this question. Think about that chapter of your life you most wish you could just tear out of the book. Got it? Now, who would you be today without it? This leads to what you could call the revaluation practice. And let me be super clear. This is not about pretending that bad chapter was secretly a good thing. It wasn't.
This is about seeing what it formed in you. What strengths, what compassion, what resilience was born only because you went through that. That experience forged the person listening to my voice right now. And that person is the only you there is.
And finally, it is so important to remember this. Amor fati is not some state of enlightenment you reach and then you're just done. It is an ongoing, lifelong, unfinished practice.
It is not a destination you arrive at, it's a direction you move in. It's a constant daily reorientation toward your own life. The goal isn't to be perfect at it, but just to keep moving in that direction. Your life has chapters you don't like. We all have them. But Amor fati is an invitation to claim them anyway. Claim them as yours. Claim them as necessary. Claim them as part of the only path that could have possibly led to the person you are right now. And, more importantly, the person you are still becoming. So the practice doesn't start tomorrow. It starts now. Not with your whole life story, just with today. Look back on the last 24 hours. The good, the bad, the boring. Would you choose this day exactly as it was again? That's the question. And your answer? That's where the work begins.